our people should exercise their right. Now, I find it very hard to get people, another representative, to come into the studio today. I have tried numerous people that I know to come in, those who have said, vote, leave, come out. I have said, okay, let's hear your voice on the radio. As someone who are in the know, I'm speaking of people who are recognized, and you're saying we want to leave out of the Europe. And I'm saying, come, let's discuss this in Galaxy. I'm still waiting for these phone calls to confirm that these people are strong in their conviction to come into a Galaxy studio. But you're strong because you said, stay in Europe, and so you're here to represent those who want to stay in Europe. I want to hear from you. Why is it so important? Before we talk about staying in Europe, why is it so important for us as African to vote, my brother?
Oh, thank you. I'm pleased you did it that way, because I'm going to try to avoid taking a hard line on remain in Europe, although the party line is that we should remain in Europe.
That's what I heard.
Okay. So I'm going to try to be receptive to questions from the audience, because, believe it or not, since January, I've been involved in one election or the other, I must say, and I've spoken to literally thousands of people on the doorstep, so I've been well-versed in responding to questions, okay? But I'm more than capable of putting a powerful case as to why we should remain. But why the people we should be involved in the political process? Well, I have to say to you, I hope you don't mind, you have some grey hair.
Yes, I have. A lot of it.
Hey, and I have a little bit here as well, you know.
Yes.
You and I have children.
Yes.
Hey, we have families.
Yes.
Okay. And I would suspect that we are all taxpayers.
Yes.
You pay. My chief of, even though you are chief of chiefs, I know that you pay value-added tax, VAT. You pay income tax, yes. You pay council tax, and I'm sure there are some other taxes which I can't even describe right now that you pay into the British economy.
Yes, we do.
We have a vested interest what happens to this country because we are paying for it.
Right.
Okay. Now, those of our people who say, "Well, I vote." Now, very often when I meet such people, I say, "It's okay. You no matter no more," and I move on very quickly. But those who hesitate when they say, "I vote," okay, these are the people who ought to engage, because at least they're thinking about the responsibility we have to themselves, to our children, and to our wider community, to make sure not only do we vote, but we demand of those politicians that if we vote, this is what we're expecting from you. Okay? Or we read the manifesto and we hold the politicians, the parties, to account for their manifesto. Now that means we are an integral part of the political process. Okay? That's why we must vote.
That's why we must vote. And as an African people, you think that what is happening today to us now today as African in this country, if Britain should actually leave Europe, it will be worse than what we are going through, the L that we are catching? It will be worse if Britain come out of Europe? What is in it for us as African? That is the question I'm asking. As African, are we represented in the union which they're talking about, the European Union? As African, are we represented in that union?
Okay, now that's one of the typical questions I'm getting. Okay, okay. Now, and I want to break it down a bit.
Please,
let me break it down a bit now. Okay, first of all is what are we getting?
Yes,
I have to say to my people and to you is what are we going to take? You see, power or gifts, okay, are quite distinct entities. Power is something you can wield and you can get what you want. A gift is where someone feels a little sorry for you, and they give it to you. Now, I've found in life, and you recall when I first met you, as a much younger man, with young children running behind me, and I was primarily concerned with their education. Why do I keep repeating that? Because the schools that they were going to go to were the poorest schools in the country.
Okay.
Hey, yeah?
Right.
And yes, I was capable of sending my children to private school. Yes, it could have been done. But then what about all the other children from my community who will send those children to the poorest school in the country? The question is, should I take responsibility for that situation? Okay? That was the question. And I decided, my wife and I decided, the family decided that we should take responsibility.
Yes.
Okay. And therefore, not take an individual decision just to protect our own children, but to protect our children, our friends and our neighbours' children, was indeed to protect our own children.
Okay.
So therefore, seeking to become a governor of the children's school and being a part of the decision-making in that school altered the chemistry in the school. And the chemistry was one that had to recognize us as a people who are both conscious, intelligent, concerned, loving, forceful, and all those wonderful human qualities that otherwise they believe us not to possess. Because how can you have a situation in which the overwhelming majority of the children are African heritage children, and there is not one leader in the school from that community? That community simply chooses through its inaction, to abrogate itself of responsibility and therefore give the responsibility of the performance of that school to other peoples.
And so you're breaking this down, my brother. Still hasn't answered the question.
It's answering the question. The question you put to me is what we can get out of it. I say to you, what are you going to do about it? And let me finish. Yes. What I mean by that, so we avoid confusion. Okay, look. The political parties are made up of members. Okay? How many of my people who might ring in today are members of a political party? Okay. Remember? That's the other step we took. Yes. Me becoming a member of the local political party because I believe in its ethos, in its aims, objectives. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I believe in its manifesto. Yes. Okay. It could benefit my family. Okay. There you go. Okay.
I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna leave that there on this table for a little while.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna come back to you.
Okay.
This is one of the best time. A lot of us. This is only time in some of our lives we'll be able to see a referendum in this country.
Yes.
Some of us may never see this again.
This is true.
But right now it comes at a very critical time for us as Africans in this country. And I tell you why. We are now talking about reparation. This coincides with what we are now speaking about as African in this country. This is a time when we as African can say we're going to prove a point. If every Jack African in this country said, no, we will not support your cause by voting, somebody will stand up and say, what happened to Africans? Why is it we haven't got an African vote? And this is crucial for us to stand up and say, okay, we will withhold our vote at this time to prove to the world that we are serious about our reparation.
You know, my elder, I remember you said that 10 years ago and 15 years ago and 20 years ago as well. And even despite the fact, I've just given you what I thought was a pretty graphic analogy.
Let me hear it.
Of what happens through inaction.
Okay.
What happened through inaction at a local school, and I keep it the local school because I think most people can relate to it, was nothing. Our children were going to the worst schools in the country through inaction. And why? None of our people were deciding to take control of the schools. Yeah? And if the greatest gift that we the people can give our children, that's a good education. Okay? Now, if you say to me, what you were doing, forgive me, not you personally, but you understand, what you would say to me, what you were doing is to show the British state, well, this is an atrocious school, and you know what? I'm going to sit on my hands, and I'm going to let Jack, Dick, and Harry, and Nigel Farage run my children's school to the ground, but I'm not going to say nothing to him because I'm protesting. This is a passive, aggressive position. I say to you, and forgive me, and respectfully, Chief of Chief, respectfully to anyone else.
You're reasoning, no problem.
That is a stupid position.
All right.
Because the children will look at us and say, Mummy, Daddy, Why are these people controlling the school when we're the overwhelming majority and this special government money is being invested in the school for our children? Why are you not there? Why are you not leading the child towards excellent education for me, sons and daughters? In Europe, let's take Europe now then.
Yes.
Europe is the place in which the Human Rights Act is second to none in the world.
Yes.
And it has protected the interest of African peoples across Europe far more than any other legislation that you'll find produced either by the American, what they call Civil Rights Act, or indeed, in fact, there's not an equivalent in Australia, or indeed, most certainly not in China. In other words, the European Human Rights Act has enshrined that, one, our interest, racism and prejudice, which severely impacts the economic growth of a people, is ruled illegal. And if we use it, we can get the majority of what we want.
I need to come back to you. Europe doesn't protect our Civil Rights Act more than the American. Our African in America, their Civil Rights Act is more protected than any other Africans around the world because it has been written in their constitution. And so Europe cannot be more advanced in protecting civil rights acts for Africa than in the Americas.
Your guest presented not here at the moment because she's a legalese person.
Yes, and she'll be here.
What I'm going to say to you, though,
yes.
and what I'm going to say to you all, just for the sake of argument right now,
right.
because I'm going to encourage people to phone in.
We want all this pursuing. Give us a second or two.
Yes. They're of equal standing.
Yes.
Because whilst the American experience is quite specific to America, the words and intention have already been written into the European Human Rights Act. It's already been written into. Now, it's the lack of awareness of our people which is the problem, and using it to our best advantage.
Okay, right. Okay. Let me lift this big back off the table that I put on the table earlier.
Okay.
We put on the table when I asked you, what is in it for us? You went and you told us about schools and what is in it for the schools. Are you telling me that Europe control the education system in this country that our children goes to? Is that what you're saying to me now?
It doesn't control it, but the framework in which the national curriculum is positioned within, has to take into account the European Human Rights Act. And if I may, though, because I think it's so important, because remember, the difficulty I have very often with Pan-Africans and other people is about this mindset. I am not a victim, okay? I don't operate from that position, okay? I operate from the position that I'm sufficiently able to make money, protect my family, okay? And if I really want to push for something, I will organize so that we get what we want, okay? I'm more than able to do that. And I believe there are many men and women out there who are more than capable of doing exactly the same. But it's the narrative which is wrong, okay? So if we want genuine reparations, what we have to look at are examples where other people have achieved reparations. What are the lessons to be learned from those people? And incorporate that as part of our much broader strategic strategy, And indeed, it is going to be easier to get reparations out of United Europe than it is out of the British government. Why? You ask yourself, Because you've observed
it is not easier because France is one of the most racist countries today when we talk about reparation. The brothers and sisters in France they're catching more L than those who are here. And reparation is not seen as important for those who are in France today. So why is it African are much more stronger in reparation if you have this united Europe that they're now trying to pull together? Why would it be any better for us?
So let's take it again. I want to say again.
Look at Belgium. And
Before you do that, let's take France, Belgium. That's not a problem. Remember, it's the narrative. So you start off by saying France is the most racist country.
That is still.
Hold on. But you don't present any evidence as to why that is so. Go on.
Should I provide the evidence?
Yes.
The football contest or whatever competition is now
Yep,
on.
yep.
And one of these days, they had one of those black footballers.
Yep, that's right.
Who played for France. He was born in France.
That's right.
And he's now saying of the country that he was born in, people doesn't give him the recognition, considering that he played for that country, and he see that that country is more racist than any other country whereby he was born in that country. Comes out of his own mouth.
Okay. And you hear our people in this country make very similar statements.
Very much, yes, we
Okay,
have.
let me follow through. Now,
We are living it.
now, that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, so remember, I am not a victim. Okay? So, racism is a fact. Let's remember what...
Okay. When you say you're not a victim, what do you mean?
Okay,
You're not a victim of racism.
No, hold on. Come back. I want to make sure I get it right.
Please.
You see, very often, when you observe victims, okay, what they're looking for, or for people to feel, forgive me, sorry for them.
Right.
For you're appealing to their heart, to their humanity, you know, to their feeling of fairness. Okay, now, I have to say to you that that strategy has never worked. Okay? We achieved in this country the first Race Relations Act, I believe, in 1963, I think it was. Okay, yeah. And my father, amongst others, was involved in that campaign to get it, okay. What he would tell you, if he were here now, he's a 90-year-old frail man at the moment, but he's got a strong heart, and his brain is very agile, I have to tell you. And I have to bow each time I encounter him. But, there we go. What he would tell you, despite the adversity he experienced in this country, when he didn't come on the Windrush, but on some other vessel, okay? What he would tell you, this was an incredibly hostile environment.
Okay.
Yeah. He found it difficult to find somewhere to live, okay?
Yes.
At every turn, it was being insulted, okay? Despite the fact that my grandfather was in the World War fighting for Britain. Yes. Even despite that fact. And the environment here, he said, was very, very harsh. Very, very harsh. And the winters harsher still, okay? But why did he fight back? Because he said, I was not going to back down. Okay, I was not going to be a victim. Was not going to appeal to their heart. I was going to appeal to the law, and I was going to use the law against these self-same people who proclaim to be civilized. Okay, and what he said, he made it quite clear, is that there are amongst the much wider communities individuals. Well, he was not calling them racist, but he will say that at least they had a sense of fairness and respected strength of character, strength of conviction. That what they respected. What they don't respect, or people simply say, "Oh, please be nice to me. Oh, please feel sorry for me. Please don't do that anymore to me." That didn't appeal to them.
So, are you saying that Europe have prevented this from happening?
Now then, there we go.
Is that what you're saying?
There we go. The European Human Rights Act
Yes.
is an incredibly powerful document, which is why this right-wing Tory government wishes to exit from it, because, of course, this right-wing Tory government, given its own way, would reduce workers' protection. It would reduce our rights to object to laws which clearly work against ordinary people's interests. The Human Rights Act is such a powerful document that the British government, whenever it comes up against it, loses those cases in the European court. A powerful institution. If only our brothers and sisters in France and Germany and all the other places knew how to use it effectively, it would transform those countries. We here in the UK have had the advantage of Africans from the Caribbean and increasingly now from the continent coming here and a substantially effective life here in this country. No longer are we simply perceived to be people who just come here to do labouring work. Okay, we are amongst the greatest intellectuals in this country, the greatest scientists. There you go. So therefore, the mentality that I have, therefore, is one that says we are a great people and we can make a great contribution to wherever we may find ourselves at that time.
I am not too sure about that. You know, so on that note, I'm going to open the line.
Okay.
I just want to leave that part on for the listeners.
We are a great people.
Dear listeners, I want you to participate in the program this afternoon. Give us a call. The lines are now open. 07-923 334-515. That's 07-923 334-515. Alternatively, 07-399 359 614. 07-399 359 614. What say you this afternoon? You have heard Councillor Martin Seaton and his pledge for you to stay, for Britain to actually stay in Europe. What is in it for you and I as African living in this country at this time? Let me take the first call for the afternoon. Caller, you on the radio. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, greetings everybody, and congratulations to Martin Seaton.
My sister, you are so low.
Really?
You are very low, yes.
Okay, well, may I just say congratulations to Martin Seaton for being a constant inspiration for every great moment that has gone by in this community's life. And
thank you.
I'd like to say I'd like to vote leave because I want to protect what I know and I love.
Okay.
And also, on another thing, I've travelled a bit around Europe, and there are some qualities of other people that I do not like, which is quite natural to them, and I wouldn't want them to influence some of the things that have governed the successful parts of my life, and that could govern the successful parts of my children's life. And when I say all children, I mean all my children. Like exactly expressed how Martin Seaton expressed it earlier, and I would want to vote to leave Europe because there are some things about other people I do not like, and I wouldn't really want them to influence the integrity that I know and I've grown up with, which I think if we were to take all the positive things, we can add together and make something good out of a situation rather than something negative out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good afternoon, my sister.
mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your kind words. Thank you. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I've knocked on many doors and had many conversations, such as we're about to engage in now. Now, you've said that the reason why you might consider to vote to leave is because you don't like some of the people on continental Europe. Can I just ask you just to elaborate, just spend a moment just to elaborate on what you mean by that?
Okay. Well, I turned a parent at 18, so I'm an experienced grown woman now. And let's just start with Spain. Their parenting skills are different than ones in England, Britain as I know it. I wouldn't want their parenting skills to govern how women of this country have successfully raised their daughters as we know it today. Those who have done it greatly and are proud of their kids. I'm not happy with the way the Italians' attitudes are towards African people, and I'm basing this on my experience and what I've seen and what I've read. And to be honest, there's an attitude and decorum that I don't want to get used to. I can just about handle it now as a grown woman walking about on a daily basis. I wouldn't want to be with people and we have to experience that. You know, I want to protect the kindness that I know. And be serious.
Okay. Can I just... Okay, so you've given 2 examples.
Make it short because we've got another call waiting on the line.
Okay. And then you've got the Indians' culture with these caste systems, the way that they don't like people of a darker skin tone. I don't want to encourage that. anymore. I just want them to start sending emails to everyone and just saying, be nice to people. Okay. So I don't want to encourage a life where it's going to encourage those that are horrible. Because I'm sick of fighting foreigners.
Well, I hear where this is. My sister, I hear where you're coming from. My brother, you need to convince your sister because she's already made up her mind. Now, I would like you to make this answer short and spicy.
I'm going to try to make it short and spicy.
My sister, thank you for the call.
Okay, so...
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sis.
I think it's important to say that the relationship between Britain and the countries of continental Europe, if Britain is in or out, will not fundamentally change. Okay, I think it's important to state that. Okay, therefore, your observation of the Italians, your dislike of the way the parenting and so on, are not reasons, if I may suggest, not for us not to remain in Europe. In fact, there are pretty good reasons why we should be in Europe, if only because our people live in those countries. And united, we have the opportunity to effect change across Europe and not in a single country.
Let me take another call. Okay. Caller, you're on the radio. Good afternoon. Sorry to have kept you.
Good afternoon. This is Mama Margaret, and how is everybody?
Mama Very Margaret, good. Good afternoon to you.
Good to hear from you.
Try to be short and don't cut me off. I'm begging you, please. First of all, I must say to people in Galaxy, I have always said don't vote. I have voted already. My vote has gone in, my postal vote has gone in, and my vote is to leave Europe. I have lived in this country for a long, long time. And I have been involved in politics and I've been involved in community work. I have visited Europe as a member of the Labour Party, and I have voted to come out. One, most people in Europe are the most racist people that you can go across. Two, our children, as you said, the schools, Europe have nothing to do with our schools. Three, before the market was open, our people could have gone and get little building jobs somewhere. Now the Europeans are working on the buildings, they're working on the place, they're sleeping in there, they're getting up in the morning, they're taking their little bus pass and they're going back home. 5, immigration in Europe is nothing for our black people. 6, if you go to Europe and let's take Paris in the night time, the most dirtiest work that you can see that's being done is black people, African people. I vote. I was there before. I was here in England before we went to Europe. As a single parent, my life was better. And right now, my people are suffering because of it. I vote. And I'm asking you for the first time in my life in Galaxy to vote to come out. Please vote to come out. My postal vote has gone in already. If you want to answer me, you can. If you want me to come off, I'll come off and listen to you.
First of all, Mama Margaret, it's really good to hear from you. It's good to hear that you are in good feckle. Obviously, you are absolutely wrong. As I said earlier on, that I don't and I refuse to adopt the poor me victim mentality. If we see racism in any European country, we have an obligation, I repeat, an obligation to be a part of the process in which that racism finds it difficult to coexist in the environment that we occupy. We have a responsibility to make sure that happens. So I say to people, voting to leave Europe because you're afraid that of racism across Europe, I have to tell you, will mean that we will die, but we leave the problem to our children. And I have to tell you, I love my children, and I will not leave those problems that we can deal with now for them to deal with themselves. Okay. And lastly, very quickly, I say to you, one of the advantages of Europe from our perspective, particularly from our family's perspective who currently live in the Caribbean and beyond, is that if you are a European citizen, in other words, your passport said a member of the European Union, you could travel to any European country without the need to go through passport controls. Okay. It means, therefore, you can take up jobs in Europe without further ado. You can establish businesses in Europe without further ado. And whilst you may not be able to vote in the local elections, in those countries, depending upon the time which you've been there for, you can also participate within their political processes. In other words, it means that Britain is a wonderful place, beautiful island, but we've got the entire continent of Europe at our foot, able and willing, where we've got a vision and we've got the determination to great wealth to the benefit of our entire community.
Mama Margaret, last words, please.
One more I'm going to say, and I'm going to come out.
Please.
Most people wouldn't like what I'm saying, but the European people, especially the Germans and the Italians, if you're West Indians and Africans, they go to our country and they spoil our little boys and our little girls. They buy out our land saying that is there, for the people, and then they go and they take it out. I say vote to come out. If we want to build England, we build this country. Our foreparents came and worked in this country. They didn't come. Our parents came as slaves. They didn't come and do it. And we're the less citizens. Vote to come out.
Mama Margaret, thank you very much. Give thanks. You've made your point and made it clear. Let's take another call. Another call is here waiting patiently to have his or her say on the radio. Caller, you're now on the radio. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Chief Pa Kombrabia.
Good afternoon to you, my brother.
Yes, please. I would like to greet you and to greet your guest there. And the problem with the next vote is for we Africans to make a bold decision. Whether we want to vote for short-term gain or we want to vote for long-term gain. By the short-term gain, I see we can travel to Europe, we can come here and so on. But the long-term gain is the economic gain. The European Union is there in order to keep Africa down. Let me give you some empirical research statistics from leading economists. In European Union, the European Union is killing Africa agriculture. It is the common agricultural policy. It subsidized annually with 30 billion pounds a year. It is killing Africa agriculture. And what they're doing, the European Union, remember, this is 28 countries. Their farmers can produce what they want, they will subsidize them, and that dumping they produce on African market. 30 billion pounds a year. There is no African countries that can afford 30 billion to subsidize the farmer at the level of 30 billion pounds a year. This is why Africa is importing food. The European food in Africa costs less than domestic African food. Now, in terms of sugar, I give you one example, sugar only. Yes, sugar only is subsidized with 1.3 billion. So Africa cannot export sugar in European Union, which means in 28 countries. The only country, probably two, that export sugar in European Union is probably Mauritius and Botswana, I think. And why? You have to look who own those.
Yes, with all that statistic you're giving us, how will this affect us whether or not Britain comes out of Europe, my brother? How will this affect African people? This is the question I'm asking you this afternoon. On top of all the statistics that you're giving us.
Hello?
My brother, have you listened to what I'm saying? I'm asking you, how will this affect us? With all the statistics that you have given us, how will this affect us in Africa? If Britain stay in or out of Europe? I don't think my brother can hear us. I'm sorry, my brother, you can't hear us, but let me take another call. Another call is here waiting, and we have got to make the calls go as quick as we can. My brother, you're now on the radio. Make your point, please.
Good afternoon. I've got several points. Taking up from where the bread upon the continent was. I can speak on part of that with some of the notes I've got down here. 14 African countries have to pay a colonial tribute to France because they have the temerity to warrant independence. That turns out to be 500 billions in France's coffers. I suppose if you see Senegal and you don't see much industry going on, you'll know why. If they don't have their satellites in the sky projecting their own news, you'll know why. Belgium's never apologized for what it did in the African Congo. Germany's never apologized for what it did in Namibia, but it's paying a price for what they say happened in World War II. The main point I would like to ask this man in the studio, because I've noticed he's mentioned the European human rights, so let's go there. I would like to ask you, Martin Seaton, do you believe in freedom of speech?
Why don't you ask your substantive question? Because time is limited, of course. Yes, in response to you immediately, of course.
You do, good. Are there any caveats to your freedom of speech?
What is the real question you wish to ask us? Because time is limited here.
I just wanted to make sure you know what you're talking about, and everybody gets to understand what I'm talking about and what I'm going to quote from.
Okay, go ahead.
A big event happened in World War II, 1939 to 1945. At war's end, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was married to President Roosevelt, put into action the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, I believe in my God-given inviolable rights. That means no law drawn up by man can take my freedoms and rights away. But Article 19 runs, in my view, in accord with God's inviolable rights that you have, I have, and Tete has in the studio. It goes like this. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through many or any media regardless of frontier. I am using that right now on Galaxy. Now, should you wish to get rid of those rights and vote to remain in the EU, because it's got its own set of the European Convention on Human Rights. Because when they saw what the big mouth American woman did by guaranteeing people in Europe freedom, they didn't like it. You know, the people who finance wars, they didn't like it. So 2 years later, they came up with this. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart information and ideas without interference by public authority. And regardless of frontiers, this article shall not prevent states from requiring licenses of broadcasting, television, or cinema. Part 2, and listen carefully.
Brother Reese, where is this going? Where is this going? Please, where is this going? Simply ask a question so it can get a substantial answer than for you to beat around the bush. Ask a straight question, brethren, please.
I'm doing it.
How long gonna take? Another 5 minutes?
Hello? The exercise of these freedoms, since it carries with it duties and responsibilities, may be subject to such formalities, conditions, restrictions, or penalties. It means you have no freedom of speech. It means when they're talking about jobs and stuff, they're not telling you they want to enslave you. Now, what is your answer to that?
Do you think at this time anyone can enslave us? Do you think you'll be able to go under a European law of enslavement now, in this time, 2016 and beyond? Come on, Reese.
It's been a plan for a long time. It never just came about yesterday. It never just came about last.
Okay. Brother Martin, would you like to just make a quick answer to this question, please?
What I'll do with this particular question is just go away and check my facts before responding. Now, I will respond next week. I'll ring up next week.
The election will be over over next week.
Nevertheless, though, Rees, you've said that you're not going to, you're voting to leave the European Union because you have greater faith in the British Equalities Act than you do in the European Human Rights Act. That's what I believe you've said. And on that basis,
thank you, Rees.
I just want to check my facts before responding to you.
Okay, thank you, Rees. Let's take another call. A caller has been waiting here. Let's take this other call. My brother, my sister, you're on the radio. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, gentlemen, alongside Dr. Chief Pa Kombrabia.
Good afternoon to you, my brother.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I'm in a straightforward answer. I'd like to say, personally, I'm voting out. And my reason, my understanding is simply based on simplicity. I myself work in the construction field, and I can understand where the great sister was coming from before because of the infiltration. But we all know the picture is way greater. Since we've been in this Euro circle, I've looked at how our Caribbean and our African continents have benefited, and they haven't benefited. They've been used as scapegoats. So me personally, without taking up any much further time, I'd like to say I'm voting out, period.
Okay, my brother.
Let me, if I may say something, respond to that quite directly. I recently attended a lecture hosted by the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, P.J. Patterson. Okay,
right.
And what he made it quite clear at that lecture is that whilst the British market has and will always be important to Jamaica and the Caribbean, the European market is infinitely better for them. So they prefer to work with the European Union because it means you have access, equal access to the 28 countries of the European Union, whereas if Britain goes alone, the Caribbean is negotiating solely with one country, and that's Britain. Okay. There you are.
My brother,
do the maths.
Thank you for the call, my brother. We have to move on. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask. All right, no problem.
Oh, you want to ask another question?
All right, yes. I just wanted to ask, then, why is it to this day, a lot of us still feel that our countries, our motherlanders are still being used as scapegoats, because I haven't seen anything that's beneficial to the African continent, let alone the Caribbean and around that scrap.
If I may answer that question, because I'm conscious of time, and I think it's very often what happens here is that we here in the UK, because we're so wealthy, we think that by Britain being alone somehow will protect our long-term interest. I say to you, clearly, all the evidence suggests that is not the case. So the comparison I've just made with P.J. Patterson, making it quite clear that Jamaica and the Caribbean, CARICOM, would much prefer to negotiate trade deals with the European Union because the market means they have access to 350 million people rather than the 68 million people who reside here in the UK.
My brother, thanks for the call. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Give thanks. I've been joined by our leader, Mbandaka, from the Alkebu-Lan Revivalism Movement. And, of course, a presenter here in Galaxy. And, of course, we have just joined by our sister here on the platform as well.
She's kissing me. Oh, she's kissing so well. Oh.
Shh. I'm waiting for her to pat my beard.
Oh la la!
That's all I'm waiting for. You know? No, not the Chief's beard. You do that all the
time. It's a real one.
Let me take another.
Try a fresh beard. You must get tired of that old beard now.
A freshly groomed beard.
Brothers and sisters.
Freshly cut beard.
Yes. Let me take another call. My brother on the radio. Good afternoon to you. My brother, you here? He's not there.
Can I jump in on your last point?
Of course.
Right.
Am I mic'd up?
Your microphone is on, yes.
Out of interest, the UK does more business with Ireland than it does the 53 countries of the Commonwealth.
Where is Dr. Abu?
So, this idea that's being muted, that somehow or the other we're going to work with other people.
Yes.
It's rubbish.
Rubbish.
What we're looking for is TTIP. Have you covered
Where is
that
that?
as yet?
Yes. Not
Right.
yet. Not yet. Not yet.
You haven't,
Not yet.
right? You haven't covered that.
No, not yet.
So what we're worried about now is TTIP, and if we're outside of Europe, we have no control over the transatlantic investment partnership.
That's right. Yes.
So we got that little horror story to cover.
All right, before we even go any further, let me take this call and I have to, as I introduce, just for this, just for the last call, just for this session, just for now, please. All the calls, please. Dr. Abu, there was no one here. I think there's someone here now. All right, someone hopefully be here now. Caller, you're on the radio. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, greetings. Rise up, Galaxy family.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Chief Pa Kombrabia. Just a couple of...
And of course, we have got a studio full of people inside. We've got our leader Mbandaka, we've got Councillor Martin Seaton, and of course, we've got the Oracle inside here, my brother.
Yo, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, greetings. I've been travelling for the past 40 years. Pre-EU, and now in the system that they say is the European economy now. I don't understand why the brethren says that you don't have to go through immigration. You have to go through immigration everywhere and show your passport. I've been travelling now for 40 years. So I don't know if that brethren has travelled through Europe and not have to go through immigration.
If I may then, just to clarify, what I said is that there are no formal passport control. You don't require a visa to travel. If you have a British passport which says you're a member of the European Union, you no longer require a visa to go from one country to another. You may require
to Europe.
You may require your passport to show to prove who you are. And if challenged, of course, it's always prudent to have it with you, or at least your European driving license. But you most certainly would not require a visa. You can go to a European country. You could take up a job there without the usual immigration checks.
Hang on, my brother.
And indeed, you could start up a business in Europe without all the usual bureaucracy that might be involved. In other words, it liberates us. It gives us opportunity to go across Europe, create wealth, and protect our community and our families.
My brother, I don't think so. But never mind. Caller, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening, but this is rubbish what he's talking. I've been trading in Europe for 40 years, in and out. Never had no problems. I still have to produce my passport at the immigration and show who I am. So it's a fallacy to say that it's free movement. It's not. Maybe he's right. You don't have to have visas, but you still have to have your passport.
You don't need a visa. You don't need visa. You don't need visa. Occasionally, when I used to do long distance lorry driving, occasionally they would ask for me to show my passport, but very, very rare. I have to show my passport going through when I used to go to France, to Belgium, to Ireland, Guernsey. I'm coming back. I never have to really show. Very, very rare. They would look at me and said, "Have you got your passport?" Other than that, I just go straight through, my brother. And I can say that.
But as you know, that's not with everybody. So if it was free,
that is true. That's not with everyone.
Just be able to go through in and out of every country without having to go through immigration and prove that this is their passport. I'm a witness to this.
Forgive me, my brother. Do you have a British or EU passport?
Why?
No. Do you have a British or EU passport?
I have this British passport.
Okay. All right. I know most people recognise that since 1975, when Britain entered the European Economic Community, the free movement of people was one of the cornerstones as to why Britain entered that market. It also ensured, if I may say so, that you're also protected, if challenged. So if you feel that you're being abused when you enter one European country to another, you should, if I may say so, report it. Because it could be that if you are of a particular hue, that in fact the authorities, when they see you, assume you are non-EU citizen. And it'd be useful to understand how often we are being challenged. But I've got to say, travelled to France, Germany, and to Belgium, I must say, and to Spain, of course. And I've not been challenged. I've not been asked to produce my passport.
Our brother was unfortunate. My brother, thank you for the call this afternoon. It's very important to point these things out. Yes.
I'm unfortunate. It's what he's saying is not fact that you can travel freely through borders. It's not.
Well, if he's incorrect, I want to know why I haven't been locked up. I have been a consultant working at a senior level, and I have gone
my brother,
I have gone
stick
across
up in.
Europe. And I've travelled across Europe within the EU zone
My brother,
for
stick
my
up in,
company,
please.
and I have never, ever been challenged. In fact, I even travelled once without my passport. So there is free movement of people and goods within the EU. And we don't pay any tariffs because we are trading within the EU. So, Councillor Martin, you're absolutely correct.
Okay, my brother, thank you.
Chief Pa Kombrabia,
Yes, sir.
can you tell him to talk about these big banking systems that are telling us?
Well, it's no matter what we are telling him to talk. It's a question that I put to him, my brother. So if you're going to put a question, I'm sure he will answer that question.
Yeah, because he needs to. Because they don't need nothing for Africans or nothing